Hello, everybody. Woohoo! Video number 2 for 2026. It's Belinda here from Belinda's Book Nook. Almost forgot the name of the channel. I think I'm going to be rusty for a little while. It's just been way too long since I got started, and I just want to get to talking to you guys about books. So I meant to do a video a day earlier, but I wasn't finished, and I wanted to finish the books so that I could, you know, have something to talk to you about. And also, I think I'll do a separate video of my February intended reads slash TBR maybe books that I'm thinking about. I definitely have a pretty good idea of what ones I'm going to attempt to get done in February. And it's that month where I feel so much pressure to read stuff, and then it feels like, and it's a short month, and then it's just a lot usually goes on in February. So we'll see what happens with that. But there are three books that I finished this month, if I'm correct, and so I want to talk to you about those three. So I literally just finished this one a minute ago. I'm not going to go into too much detail because this is our book hub selection for Read So Lit. And I don't know when I'm going to put this video out. This is going to be before or after that. But I like to go there and work through my thoughts on the book with the group because I really think it just illuminates for me more and opens me up to other ideas that I don't necessarily feel like I can do alone. And that's what the benefit and the beauty of being in a book club is to hear different views and different experiences and really take it in. So this is due when I'm recording this tomorrow. I'm going to have the book club. So I will probably talk again maybe about this after that to tell you more of my thoughts on this specifically. So the book is called Queen of Exiles by Vanessa Riley. For many of you might be familiar with her. She's written a bunch of other more I feel like they're called Regency romance type books. That's what it seems like to me. But what she's known for me is the historical fictions, which is just my jam. And Island Queen was a really favorite of mine. What I will say about this without going to the meeting and really just kind of sitting with it, and also because I'm just literally coming off of it. So there's always that initial reaction to a book, and then there's that, thinking about it later and sitting with it. So my initial reaction right now is I liked Island Queen better than I liked this one. Is this a good book? I think yes. I think she does a good job of doing her research. And with this, she had very little to, I think, little in the terms of the details of the story, but she had a lovely framework of in dispersing within the story actual news articles. So I thought that was really kind of unique and really, at least in my reading experience, and something that was very interesting. I was always looking forward to seeing what they were going to say in the next news article. However, I think right now, on my immediate reaction, the pacing was a little bit slow in the beginning of the book. And I feel like this is a big book. I feel like, and maybe my friends will feel the same way too. So this book is 420, 425 pages long. I feel she could shave a lot off of this because I wish I could, if I had this digitally, to see how many times she repeated certain things in here, certain themes, and sometimes they felt like they were the same words again. And it took me out of the story each time because I was like, again? So I think that was a criticism I guess I have. But I think the story was good, and it picked up at the very end of the book. And I found it interesting. So I'm going to wait and hold my full thoughts until after I talk with the group and also sit with it. I mean, I haven't even been sitting with this for an hour. So this is kind of my initial reaction of the book. So there's that. And I'm happy to say I finished it. And I'm really happy because I own this. I didn't have to buy it. It was already on my shelf. So I just had to pick it up and read it. So that makes me super, super happy. And then the other two I read on my Kindle. One I read for the anti-brain rot challenge. Oh my goodness. Yep. Wait a minute. It's tea time. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Vanilla Como. Oh my gosh, this tea is so good. Mm-hmm. 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 And then I froth it. You can't see it, but yeah, it's just like, it's like heaven in a cup. All right. Okay. So anyway, the book that I read for the anti-brain rot challenge was their fiction, no, excuse me, nonfiction selection. They have, like I said you before in the other video, they have a nonfiction and then they have a fiction one. And the one that I read was Capitalism, a Ghost Story by Arundhati Roy. I believe I have another book of hers, but this is my first time reading her, and I thought it was an excellent book. I mean, there's just so much that I learned about capitalism and how it relates to the Indian continent and our country, I should say. And um, I highlighted, and because this is for this challenge, I didn't feel guilty taking my time. I don't think this is a very long book. I think, I don't really have the page number because it's the ebook here and it keeps giving me percentages for this one. But I think it's maybe a little over 200 pages, if that. But it carries a lot of weight with it. She really did a great job of this, like, filling you with historical information and facts to make her case and to illuminate, I should say, the influx of. Didn't that sound like a bell? Are you okay? She's like, oh, there's a window over here. So she was looking at the window, and I have a pot that does not have a plant in it right now. And I guess, did your chain hit it? Something, your collar or something hit it, but it did like a little gong sound. Um, so, what was I saying, Ella? I guess how capitalism is really, I'm going to use my words, so I'm not really fully digest this one because I also finished this one today earlier. But how it's just destroying the country, and it's similar to the United States in that you have this really small amount of people that have wealth, and the vast majority of people not having means to support themselves and their families, and this small group of people are controlling everything that's happening. I think that I kept highlighting so much in it, which I like that I ended up buying the ebook on my Kindle. I initially had it as a library book, and I was highlighting so much, and I was like, oh, I want to remember some of this, or I want to be able to, if I want to go back to the book, I want to go and look at what I highlighted. And the beauty of the Kindle is that you can just click and look at all of the things that you've highlighted. And you can also put a note to your highlight. And I did a lot of that. So it could see my thoughts when I was reading something. And, it's an interesting way to annotate using digital. But I think for this purpose, I felt safe to keep moving forward in the book because I knew that it was going to be there, because I own the book. And I like that I can always pull it and look at it. What would be really cool is if there was a way to export those notes, and print it. Because I just highlighted a lot of stuff, and it was just things that I don't know about the country. But it also talked about the other players in the world, including the United States, and how that is part of the capitalist regime that has basically is absorbing the country, and selling pieces of it. It was just really interesting, and also looking at the parallels to what has happened there and what is happening now in this current political climate and this current administration. There's so much similarities. So it's almost like looking at a playbook for what is happening here. And so I found it really, really good. Would I read her again? Yes. And she's a brave woman because I do believe she's still living there. I could be wrong, but it is very dangerous to say the things she says in the book um, in that environment, as is a lot of things that are going on in this country. You know, freedoms of speech are definitely being tossed out the window here as well. So it's very alarming. I guess that's another word. But I really enjoyed it. It's a great read if you can get a chance to read it. It's very sobering, but I thought it was a good first start for this reading book club slash challenge. The other book that I finished, no, do not spill. Oh, and here's my trusty book. You see, until you stop seeing these, it means I'm still setting up. So I'm really I'm making progress. I am making progress. There's, sections. I even did my I did cut the pages to do my new release, anticipated release books, and I've set up some different sections. I have to get some titles in. I haven't put the titles in yet. This is I just can't wait to show it to you. But when you see these in here, that means I'm not done. But I'm kind of anxious because I have finished these books for this month and I haven't set up the structure for January, and I haven't decided if I'm going to continue the way that I did it in my old book, where I kind of had a TBR and a title page or a monthly page on the beginning, and then had the reviews in the back, behind that, etc., etc. So yeah, I got to figure that out because I don't want to be behind. I'm behind because I haven't had it set up completely right, but I don't want to fall behind on writing physically in here my reviews. So I would like to, by the middle of February at least, get all of January's in there. And I'm in a good start because this last book is an arc that is coming. Oh my Lord, did I not look up when it's coming out? I'm going to tell you right now. Let me see if I can look it up from here. I just realized that I wanted to tell you when it's coming out, so that why is it going like that? Yeah. So that you can pick up this book if you're interested in it. I don't know if I talked to you guys about it last time because I think I was I wanted to, finish it. Oh, yeah, okay. We're just gonna go into it's not letting me do it. Hold on one second, and I'm gonna look it up. I know. Oh, what is she doing? She's not organized. I told you this is going to be a little while. I'm just, I am a little slower. But having said what I was just saying before, this is my review. I started writing up. It's drafted. By the time I put this up, this video, this will be fully fleshed out. I now put it on my blog. Yep, still have a blog. I'm not ready to fully let go of it yet, even though I think that I'm trying to be current. I know a lot of people are doing Substacks, and that's one way to do it. But I'm still kind of a visual girl, and I love the idea of a blog with imagery. I do still like that. So, the name of this book, here it is. That is it right there. I don't know if I can get the date on it. This one. It's called The Fire Inside by Dr. Rima Vesley Flad. Oh, I spelled her name wrong in here. I put 2 S's in Vesley. I will fix that before I put it out. But I'm excited about that I've already done this because this makes it easier for me to put a review in here. Now, what will happen is, I remember I said I was going to try to put these down to quarter page reviews. So I think that one definitely could be a quarter page. The Exile Queens, the capitalism one, I feel like could be a page at least. And this one, sorry, not this one. This one could actually be one. I think it could be. Well, obviously, I typed it's 2 pages, but I could make it smaller. I don't think you really want to hear all that blah blah blah. But anyhow, that one's okay. Here it is. I found the date. Should I edit all this crap out that I did before this? No. You got to see the real authentic me. So February 3rd, this book comes out. It is called The Fire Inside. Hey, go down. The Fire Inside, The Dharma of James Baldwin and Audre Lorde by Dr. Rima Vesley Flad. Um, and it's got a little blurb on the top by Michelle Alexander. And she wrote, if you remember the book back a while back, that was called The New Jim Crow. But this book is just fantastic. I literally just finished this one as well, like I told you today. And I highlighted so much. I have that obviously on my Kindle because it was an ARC. And I review mine, not physical. Although sometimes there's a little bit of me that would love to have the books. Where am I going to put them? Like, to be really honest with you, um, I just don't have space to put them. So it's really better for me to get the ARCs on here. And if I decide that I want to get it, I can put it on and get a, physical copy. I can get it. Um, but I like having it on here. But again, also for that same reason, because there's just so many quotes that I pulled out of here that I loved. Now let me tell you a little bit about that book. So the title, The Fire Inside, sounds very familiar to like The Fire Next Time from James Baldwin. But what drew me to this book was many things. And I mean, I wrote some really cool notes here. And I'm really, really grateful to the publisher for giving me a copy and approving me to read it because, I'm not the best reviewer yet. I have had a history in the past. I would, take a lot of books out and I didn't read them, or I would read them and forget to review them, or what have you. So I have made it a point starting last year and definitely this year is to read the books and write reviews and talk about what I've read. And if it is DNF, to give a real reason why I truly gave it a shot and what happened in my experience with it. Because that's also good feedback too for them to kind of know. Doesn't mean that the book is bad, just might mean that that wasn't really, I wasn't the reader for that and the reviewer for it. So this one I had no problem reading. I found it every time I sat down with this, I felt a comfort in it. What drew me to it is several things. One is that when I read The Fire Next Time by James Baldwin several years back, I was just so moved by sorry, people are texting me. I was so moved by that book and how, like, his words were just so relevant to today, to the time when I read it, and it's relevant today. It would be like if he published this book this year. I have to put my foot down, Ellen. She likes to set her face on top of my foot when I have my leg crossed, so it's just like something hanging on it. But I just couldn't get over how it just was so timeless and saddened because the things that he talks about had not and have not still been resolved. And the other thing, it just really, when she mentioned that she was going to talk, about how he and Audre Lorde, their words were, how they affected her and her reading them, what it did in her life. I was curious. And then as a Buddhist myself, I was really, intrigued in wanting to know how she took these two amazing activist authors' writings and figured out how that works or coincides with the Dharma. And I just feel like it would be very comforting to find out what she's learned and how she's used it, because she talks about, her experiences, growing up, and also the self-silencing that she had done throughout her lifetime. And I can definitely relate to the concept of self-silencing. I think one of the things that she talked about in here that was just so important and just so impactful to me is she talked about anger, and she talked about how, how both of these two amazing people were able to channel their energy and their anger into action, into words that motivated other people and educated and illuminated things to people. And so I thought that that was just something that I just wanted to soak up and absorb, right? Because one of the things I thought about when I was reading the book, and that she talked about in here is like, you know, when we're little, we are taught, that you have, there's such thing as called as emotions, right? So you can be happy, you could be sad, you could be confused even, but you can also be angry. And when you're little, there's some level of the anger you are allowed to have. But as a Black person, as you get older, you realize that you have to um, contain that for the preservation of, quote, peace, for the comfort of your audience. And so I feel like she tackled talking about this topic in a great way in this book. Um, I felt like I was seen in terms of that feeling of like, right now when I see things on the news, it just get angry, and you can't, what do you do? Do you stuff it down? How do you handle that? And the beautiful thing that she did in this book, which is this, in addition to like just like she would talk about different things that Baldwin and Lord would say, and then she would align it with a Buddhist practice and a Buddhist belief or saying from the Buddha, and you're like, wow, that they're all saying the same thing. And if that's not enough for you to, to make you very curious about this book and want to read it, she also included in there some Buddhist meditation and practices that she used to heal herself and to help her deal with those feelings of anger and frustration and isolation and alienation. And so that's worth the price of admission, to read a book like that. I think that there are emotions and thoughts and things that we um, tend to stuff down and to kind of put in the back burner in the hopes that it's self-preservation, but it's still there. You know how it just gets in your body, how stress and anxiety and anger and all of those things just build and they do damage. So I was like curious because I was like, yeah, I need that. I definitely value that she did include that. There were a couple in there that might be for somebody that is not familiar with some of the Buddhist practice, might not really, resonate for them. But I also say that shouldn't be a deterrent. I feel like people could read this and pick and choose. If you get one out of there that you could use, that's great. If you can identify and understand the complexities of oppression and the oppressor and the oppressed, and learn some of these nuances and the struggles, then you've achieved something. There's just a lot that you can get out of this book that is enlightening, is freeing, and I think that it's excellent. And I hadn't seen anybody do anything like this. I could be wrong, but I just felt like this was a great way to pull people into um, these complex topics. And I definitely just, I highlighted like crazy. Um, the other thing that I really appreciated is her vulnerability to share her story, her personal story growing up, the struggle she had with her maternal grandparents, um, and their non-acceptance of her because she was Black. And uh, I appreciated that because I think it was difficult for her to live through that, and then it's also like opening up old wounds, and I think she did a great job of, because this book could have just been about Baldwin, Lloyd, and the Dharma and been amazing, but I think adding her personal story in here grounded it and gave it more. I think that it humanized it more. and it showed you the applicability of approaching things like that. And I think the beauty also is just, and this would be a great one, which I will definitely be recommending this to the group for the anti brain rot challenge, because I think this is a great book to, this would be a good book club discussion book, but it would also be like a good, like, critical thinking, like to really think deeply about different things. And it will land differently on different people. But I think that it's for everybody. It's not a book, this isn't a black book, this is a book for everybody to be able to engage with the material and take something away. What I am now compelled to do even more, I've always wanted to read Audre Lorde, and I've never read anything by her. And so I am very, very much going to be buying some of her books and reading them now. It's just one of those things, I haven't even read all of James Baldwin's books, and I'm collecting them, but I haven't, gone through them all yet. And I would like to add her to, my collection as well, and read hers and think about it more. And I think it also, I think where I was going and kind of got loop de loop just now is being able to like look at text and how it can transform you. I feel like Baldwin's work is definitely transformative if you read it. I'm assuming, based on what I heard and hear, Audre Lorde is very similar to that vein. And I think that this author did a great job with her story interspersed in this story of being able to do that. So I think it was a fabulous book. And it will sit with me for a long time. And I feel like there's a lot of applicable information that can be um, practical, that could be used right now today, for anyone. So I say go out and get it. It's February 3rd. I am so grateful to the publisher. I'm really grateful to get this one. Sometimes, I will hesitate before I actually ask for a book, because I know I'm a slow reader and I don't want to disappoint, and I want to make sure that I get the stuff done in time. But I really feel like this book, um, I was going to do a separate video, but I figured why not just suck up the time in this one to talk about it. But I just feel like this one was really, how a book comes along at the right time for the right person. This is perfect for me. I think that one of the other things that I thought, and I don't know if I mentioned it earlier, but feeling so paralyzed in anger, hurt, frustration with what's going on, that I don't know how to get to the steps to activism, right? And I think that this is a good book that helps you unpack things and think about how you can be more engaged and active as well. So that said, I'm going to keep going on and on. It's an excellent book. I really just really enjoyed it. I have to say that like the only one little thing that I would say is that there are some of the practices, or some areas in the book where I think some people might slip out of it a little bit because it's so foreign, maybe. But and also some people might not like reading about, it's always great if you can, YouTube or something, and watch a video of a meditation practice being led verbally, and hear the audio. I think that might land better on some people. Some people might not want to read the instructions, but I didn't find that to be the problem for me. So that's the only thing. Other than that, I think this is really an excellent job. I think it was well thoughtful, and very, like I said, she put herself in a very vulnerable position to say the things she had to say. But I loved it, and I will be reading more from her for sure. So please get your copy. It is The Fire Inside, The Dharma of James Baldwin and Audre Lorde. And those are the books that I read this month. I think they were really good. It was a good reading start to the year. I'm really excited about it. I have a little bit more than I have, probably going to be biting off more than I can chew for next month, but I'm going to really just try to stick with it. I really stuck to a good schedule of, sitting down for 45 minutes to an hour sessions of reading to help me get to the finish line. And I'm very happy about it because oftentimes I start with the greatest intentions and it just doesn't happen. And I'm hoping that by the end of February, I'll do a video of this completely set up, and then we'll just, keep working my way through it. I'm trying to figure out ways to get me accountable so I can, or maybe a reward system for, being up to date on this, but whatever. As long as I'm reading, I will get to it. And like I said, this is great. When I have an arc, I have a review. So I will link the blog, but just be warned that I haven't written anything since last year. So, but you can look through the old stuff that I've written if you like as well. But I will put my actual full review there. Pretty similar to what I'm saying here, but probably some other stuff that I just forgot, because that's the beauty of my brain. I hope you guys are doing well. Let me know what you're reading. Let me know what your plans are for February. I have some great books that are coming up in February, and I'm excited about the month of February because I think we've started the year off great, and I'm just going to try to keep that momentum going. And I look forward to more videos and more time with you guys. Bye.